Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I am here for ReZero Season 3, Episode 14, and I hope you're ready for a sword fight, and I hope we can keep with the theme of the last few episodes, which is just keep winning. Just keep winning. And don't ever stop winning, because if we do, it gets really scary. Our last episode was like the cherry on top of all the winning that we've been having so far, with an incredible action sequence to serve as the crescendo for Garf's like character development and also a really cool fight interaction, doing that thing that I've talked about ReZero over and over doing really well, which is telling a story through its fights, weaving personal stakes, ideals, and purpose into the battle so that every punch is meaningful and every step that the character has to take back feels like an emotional and almost a spiritual loss or defeat, and every victory feels like a spiritual victory. The fight with Kurgan is definitely a spiritual victory, and while it was extravagant and really cool to see, it may have been a little bit much, but I also didn't really understand it that well. And so I'm really grateful to have the sort of back and forth that we get in the comment section and be able to see other people's takes and insights, because those feed me. They feed me Seymour, and they feed me information and a better understanding of those ideas. So I want to highlight one of those here in the beginning, and then we'll turn our attention fully to Teresia von Astrea and her husband. Okay. Comment from Valley Cipolla. Gorgeous tiger! This is another one of my favorites in the whole show. The fight between Garf and Kurgan was always my favorite of this arc from purely a fight choreography standpoint in the novel, and to see them go so hard with it in the anime was incredible to see. Don't know which version of the fight I prefer, it's hard to say. Tappe, the author, is just an absolute master at writing fight scenes, even with just words. Easily one of the best I've ever seen, so I think I like them both about equally for different reasons. And Vincent's take on the fight, he's actually relatively close to the original version, obviously with his own flair though. He talked on Twitter about his process when reading the fight and how he wanted to bring it to life. This is the first part that's really important for me, because my core question was whether that was fucking weird and everybody felt weirded out by it, because it doesn't fit the vibe of everything else that's happened in ReZero so far. Is suddenly we're in what one commenter called almost surrealism, when things get warped and twisted into a degree that they have more of that meaning to what we're seeing on screen than literal interpretations of reality. But to know that Chansard, the animator, really put the effort in to make his choreography match that of the fight in the novel means that there are more layers of intent to it than that. It's not just kooky animator guy goes kooky and does his animator things the way I sort of think of certain like crazy Sakuga cuts, maybe certain Bahi JD cuts where it's like, do whatever the fuck you want, man. You're the guy. Instead, it's meant to convey. And I think that's really cool, because that was one of my core questions coming in is, does this actually convey what the author wants it to, or does it accidentally or intentionally convey something different, which is cool fight scene at the expense of character interaction and development and stuff. I felt all the character action, interaction, and development and stuff, even if I didn't know the pieces that we're about to talk about in a second, but I still felt jarred or shaken out of things. Garfiel, as Subaru said in S2, continues to change without ever changing. He's facing off with a legend, a god of war, the kind of man he's been spouting off sayings about for his whole life. At first, he transforms into his more bestial form. You'd think this would amp his power, but instead it just makes it easier for Kurgan to pummel him. This wild, untamed, violent side of him cannot win this fight. We actually see those portions as he's getting defeated in his bigger tiger form, and as he has bigger tiger arms, he's getting pummeled. Kurgan sees through him. Someone else in a different comment also mentioned that they sort of see Garfiel as having, like, superhero posters or, like, wrestler posters of people like Kurgan up on his room walls when he was a kid, and getting that kind of vibe for who this guy is to him. It's like he's facing up against a legend and a hero and somebody he really cares about. So what does this mean for Garfield Tinsel? Despite all his bluster about battle and the act of defeating your enemies, he can't bring himself to kill the mob beasts who used to be humans, and he still holds immense guilt and doubt over killing Elsa. He doesn't actually like the act of killing or fighting deep down, in my opinion. This is really important to me because I had never crystallized that he feels guilt over killing her. I see him as being haunted by her because she's malicious, not so much her as a specter of his conscience, and that distinction means a lot. His battle against... so why fight? His battle against Elsa didn't have any grand meaning to him personally. She was merely an obstacle that he was chosen to overcome, and vengeance for Mimi doesn't seem to drive him either. So what is he fighting for? This is where Kurgan becomes so important as an opponent for Garf. We learn that he was a demi-human who took up his swords to defend his people from oppression, even if he was feared by those same people he wished to protect. Garfiel also had a role similar to this with the Sanctuary. He took it upon himself, as the shield, to defend the demi-humans of the Sanctuary from the outside world. Of course, we now know that his reasons for doing that were really his own fear, loss of control, and deep sadness, but that urge to protect was still real, even if it was misguided. So now he's backed into a corner. He has to fight, but it's not just for himself, because now he has someone behind him, something precious that he has to protect, his siblings, his family, and on a broader scale, like others in general, right? The whole of those people become one in some sense, and we sort of, it's cool, the metaphor extends beyond his family to the whole of the group that's in the room. I think it's really powerful. Once this connection gets made, suddenly it goes tink, 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 and it clicks all the pieces in and demonstrates Garf to me as this, like, person acting in a way that they want to be noble. They're attempting at nobility through protecting others without really protecting themselves, through caretaking, through externalizing needs and desires and stuff. And it all finally clicks together for me here thanks to this comment. So I'm really grateful for it. Kurgan's recognition of Garf comes not from him powering up into a stronger version of himself like his bestial form, and not from the simple act of killing. Kurgan recognizes that Garf has something to protect, something bigger than himself. It's no longer a fight to the death like with Elsa, but a fight for life. Not to protect us from dying, but to forge a way forward into the future. Now Garfiel has a new direction. His strength is for himself and for the people behind him, and so dies the title of the Ultimate Shield and is replaced with Gorgeous Tiger Garfiel Tinsel. He's standing for himself, actually being himself, and being the person that he's seen to be in the eyes of the children. A far cry from episode 1 of this season, where he tells the kids his name is not important enough to give. He reclaims his identity as a protector, but now not out of fear, but out of love for his family and his clan. And this is only a slight shift in a mindset, but a vital one. He changed without ever changing. This last appearance of Elsa's apparition is a clearing of his self-doubts, at least for now. Changed without ever changing. It's, the words that I like to use around that are like sublimate and alchemize when we're dealing with emotions that turn into something else. They don't ever go somewhere, right? This is the crazy thing about emotions. They function almost under equivalent exchange, or almost under the law of conservation of energy. They don't go anywhere. You squish them and they squeeze out the sides, but you can transmute them. You can turn that energy into work. You can turn that energy into a different kind of energy. You can let it flow out of you in certain ways and squeeze it out of you, or you can work it through in different manners. By changing his identity, all of this energy that's trapped up in him, in a sort of a spiritually kind of a sense, I get, but I mean, it's really psychological. It's mental energy that's meant to be used for nerves firing and thoughts being processed and stuff, and instead you're not processing those thoughts because you're walled off and you're blinded to parts of the thing that you should be able to see, and you don't have ways to apply them right. So we change your identity, and suddenly all of the little through lines click up and all of the conduits attach, and now he's like electrified. It's like it flows through him, and suddenly all of that energy has a place to go, and it goes into action because he can act as Gorgeous Tiger, Garfiel Tinsel, but you can't act as the ultimate shield when that has, like, shattered, when it's broken down, when that ideal of self, when that idea of self is broken down, the energy doesn't flow through it. You hit walls and breakpoints, and it needs to be repaired, it needs to be rebuilt, and you can rebuild like Kintsugi and re-infuse yourself with the infusion of spirit and like re-recognizing that your ideas are right, or you can go through a transmutation and like get melted down and reforged into something new. And that's what we get for Garfield here, is that his shield is reforged. It's forged into him, an identity that he calls him. And probably, if he weren't a fictional character, if he were a human being, he would have this moment of like, wow, amazing, I'm me, and I can do things. And then he would go and do stuff, and he'd slowly, like, over the course of a few days, it'd sort of forget about it a little bit, and it would peter out. And then something would revitalize it, and like, oh, right, I'm awake, I'm alive, you know? And like, every time you kind of get out of the shower and you're in a brand new day, you can kind of be awake and alive and in it, and it would sort of peter out. But the initial transmutation has happened, the initial alchemy has occurred, and this big chemical reaction has occurred, and suddenly you're different than you were. And suddenly energy flows through you in a way that it was trapped before. I think it's really cool. Finishing off the comment, I just love this fight. I think this excerpt from the novel sums it up well. Someone's voice, an intimate voice, a familiar voice, a heartwarming voice, a choked voice, a proud voice, a voice which could not suppress its rage. All these voices refused to let Garfield go. I think this is a brilliant comment. I think it does a really wonderful job of summing up some parts that I just can't know. They're just not there in the animation. It's like a cliff notes, right, of the thing. It's such a summary and such a condensation, and that makes it beautiful, and it makes scenes like Vincent's beautiful, where he's probably, over the course of those couple minutes that he's animated, are pages and pages of description of different movements and different interactions and the emotional content and the thought processes behind it. And for someone who's read all of that, those are awakened and brought to life by the animation. But for me, it's like reading the index for a book that I've never read, and I see all these chapter titles, and I don't really understand what they mean. I just see the outlines of the thing, and while it's cool and it's beautiful, I don't have a deep understanding of it, and now I feel like I have a much deeper understanding of it, and again, for that, I am grateful. So, we end off our little comment spotlight there and turn our attention toward the future, or really the present, because this is happening simultaneously, and the battle between Teresia Van Astrea and her husband, or the corpse of her and her husband. But just like we found out with Kurgan, fighting against even a puppet in the shape of somebody important to you can be deeply, well, I mean, interesting, emotional, traumatizing, all sorts of things. I don't know what this one's going to be. I feel like cathartic, eventually, but I'm not sure. I also have to make one other mention, which is that I made a statement about, like, oh yeah, the fights in ReZero are usually pretty calm compared to this one. And also, Wilhelm, like, it would be weird if Wilhelm, a pretty stoic guy, started screaming, completely forgetting that he does that, like, a whole bunch during the whale fight, because he gets really emotionally invested in it. And so that's quite possibly something that we're going to see here as well. A pretty, like, restrained old feller letting loose in a really emotional battle. Could be very good. Could be very good. I think we're going to continue on the trend of ReZero smashing interesting animation, and I actually spent a lot of last episode talking about my expectations for this fight, because I thought we were going to see it during this one. I think we're going to get some cool sword fighting, and some of those cool rotating shots around characters and stuff. I'm excited for that weave of emotional into the action, and I'm excited for those peaks of hype action sequence stuff as well. If this begins to tie into the last couple episodes and give me an idea of where we're gonna end this and whether there's going to be a rug pull, I don't know, but I'm really excited to find out. I feel like there's going to be a rug pull, but I think that's because I have issues. I think that's because I have trust issues with TV shows. Um, so we've been just like winning over and over for so long that I feel like it's time for us to die a bunch and like blood, guts, gore, hell. God ascends and decides that we suck, and the witch cult wins. You know, like something really horrifying happens. Berserk eclipse. Suddenly berserk eclipse. No reason why not. Or like we threw an archbishop into the water. Water's a scary place where things are. I'm scared. None of that, there's no evidence that any of that's going to happen. It looks like we're just going to keep winning. It looks like the green line is going to keep going green and it's never going to pop. And that's pretty neat, but I'm scared. Let's find out what happens between Wilhelm and Theresia von Astrea in this episode and whether Wilhelm can get some closure. Also, will we somehow tie Reinhard and the middle asshole drunk one in to this? It's a whole family dynamic, and we've set them up and introduced them to the situation without much of a payoff so far, so be good to find out. I think that's all I have to say here at the beginning of episode 14. So let's go ahead and finally dive on into it. Episode 14 of season 3 of ReZero. Theresia von Astrea. I've got the episode up and ready to go. There'll be 2 versions, picture-in-picture in the description, timer on YouTube, a beep timer to count down, and early access on the Patreon. Thank you very much. 2 episodes might be 1 video before we need to replace ReZero, and that's going to be a really interesting poll. We're currently in the midst of polling for the Friday slot, so if you haven't voted yet, go vote on that. And then the Wednesday slot is coming, and I have seen a lot of people being like recommending particular shows that I know are already going to be on the Wednesday slot, so I'm pretty excited for that. Let's watch ReZero, season 3, episode 14. Beep timer. Let's go. Whoa, I did not expect her voice. Hey, buddy. Got a little lady bits. I like the sort of memory ray effect. Ah! Yeah, not stoic at all. Her words. She's doing a really good job of making her face feel real blank. Okay, there's our rotating stuff, our cool choreography, and we're going 3-dimensional. Okay. Yeah. Oh, what fun. Is that... Oh, it is him! Holy shit! Hi, Fambalam. Jisan! She does not have those compunctions, though. Yeah. God damn it, kid. You gotta fuck up everything. You stupid idiot. Always when dad's working. Always! Mommy? Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Okay, wait. I mean, I don't like him, but... Running time. Running time! Ah! This is fascinating. Not your mom. Robot. Not your mom. Oh shit, this got bad fast. We're not winning. We're not winning anymore. I'm so excited. Reinhard? When you're right, you're right. It's the only way, right? Like when you're right, you're right. Can he draw? I wonder if he can draw. You are irrelevant to this situation, my guy. Correct. Correct. This is not Teresia van Astrea. He can draw. Holy shit. Ooh, dude. Not where I thought this was going. But he doesn't get the catharsis. Fuck. It's the exact opposite of what I thought was going to happen. What a family gathering. Just cutting through dimensions, time and space and truth and stuff, and it's fine. Also a locket? How fucking anticlimactic. I mean, it's awesome still, but holy shit. What an incredible anticlimax. Whoop, I just got a vibe. You are called away from the flowers. And from this day forth, you shall never lose. Oh, who's that voice? Who are you? I've heard you like a bajillion times. So it is to be. Oh, fuck. Things go this way sometimes, though. Such is talent. Gambaru-ni-san. Alright, Elrond. Jesus. Fuck. I hate my son. You are my only child now. Hmm. She starts with feeling like she's robbed him, and then turns into becoming a murderer. Man, he's dead. He's not around anymore, right? This is like, oh boy. Are we gonna cut to it? We're gonna cut to it. I would put him in that same position, but a corpse. Ah! Okay. It wasn't, but that would have been the thing. Holy shit. Wow, this is great. When you're right, you're right. God damn. You're a symbol. Fuck. Welcome to war. Holy fuck. Mm-hmm. Horrifying. You're destroying what you love. For what? Mm-hmm. The piece that we do know. Now that I understand it better, it's romantic as fuck. Oh. I think the time to answer that is a little before the babies are born. Oh, poor kid. This is the subjugation. That's fucked up. Tape, that's fucked up. It's fucked up what you're doing here. You know she can. Come on, man. Don't be so stubborn back, dummy. And that's the part, yeah. That's pretty fucking good. That's some good stuff right there. Hi, whale boy. Hi, buddy. Honk honk. Aww. Oh, he's so cute. Oh, she loses it because it goes to him. Fuck. Oh, no. Sorry, Grandma. I didn't mean to. Fuck. Whoops. She's still full alive, though. Just not the Sword Saint anymore. Wait. Can't draw. You? We know that doesn't work, though. Yeah. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. He was probably thinking fuck you, fuck you, fuck you in their heads. Hell no. Wait, what? Oh shit, we've got a moment of clarity at the end. That's weird. Is this something that Reinhardt did through cutting her? Is this weird magic stuff? Mm-hmm. Yes, there is. These are simple words. These are simple words, man. Yeah, like she knows. You still gotta fucking say it. Yes, but also no. That's very cute. That's very cute. Say the fucking words. Yeah. Was that so fucking hard? Holy shit, is she turning into light? Oh, she's turning into flowers. Okay. Hmm. Because he thought he had to fight for it so hard. Okay, we get the OP at the end of the episode. Or I guess this is the ED, but there's still 5 minutes after it. Okay. There was no intro? I think there was no intro. Cool. Tell your loved ones that you love them. Just throwing it out there. I know that that's part of the point of the episode and it's patently obvious and like right on the surface, but like, say the thing sometimes. People get in car crashes, you know? Like, shit happens. You got a long life ahead of you that you don't want to live regretting it. Regretting not saying something simple. Three and a half minutes remain. Oh, dust to dust. What are you about to... What are you about to... Try it. He has every right. It doesn't work that way, man. Mm-hmm. That was just a puppet. Yeah. Shikabane. Mm-hmm. That's your guilt, my guy. Let it be. He didn't... That's not what he means, though, is it? Huh, maybe it is. Oof. That is bittersweet, mostly bitter. But he recognizes him officially. Go save us all, Reinhard. Fuck off, Heinkel. Jump in a lake. Kicking away the sword is pretty interesting for a descendant of the Astrea family. Whew. Sort of a weird portion here at the end, but what a bittersweet end. Indeed, you are right, and I am wrong. The scene's presence speaks to how, like, weird this is. You are right, and I am wrong, and he retreats with the remains of the woman he loves, and that's all there is to it. Reinhardt's position in all of this is so strange because, like, in individual interactions, like, that's a woman that he basically never met. It's just the corpse of her. At his birth, he sentenced her to death just by existing and receives all of the blame for this. And then he meets a stranger, the body, the corpse of a stranger who fights him. He defeats it. That is what it was. There's nothing else to it for him. And so there's no reaction for them to bounce off of. There's no feud to continue. That's deeply frustrating, especially for Heinkel, who screams it to the heavens. What the fuck? Like, how am I supposed to stomach this at the end of things? This is how it all ends? And it's like, yeah, that's right. That's right. Shit gets fucked up in terrifying, horrible ways, and we place it against the backdrop of this destroyed city. We've got this family that's been torn apart by magic, right? By, like, magic and power. But unfair circumstances where we lose loved ones, and you want there to be blame. You want it to all make sense and to fit into some narrative, and especially when it's part of a story, you know? It has to fit, and you can drive yourself mad trying to make everything fit the narrative that you need. And so what we get from Wilhelm is the opposite of that here. We get the strength to say, my narrative is wrong. There isn't a story here. It's not the way that it was. I've been living 20 years of this, and I have to go deal with that now. If there's a practice that I engage in that's like prayer, it's this. And so in that practice, I'll say that I hope that that capacity that Wilhelm exhibits right here to stop digging, to turn around and to look at something else, to look at a different direction. I pray that that is something that the people of this world find in themselves, self included. I pray for the capacity to stop myself when the evidence mounts against me and I realize that I'm wrong. And I pray for the awareness to realize it in the first place. When it's combined with all of the imagery of battlefields and bloodshed and war that we get for Teresia's story, and how Wilhelm put a stop to that for her through his actions, and now is putting a stop to the internal family conflict that her death has caused. I cannot help but be overwhelmed by thoughts of Vinland Saga's moving toward nonviolence, moving toward ways of solving war, and how much of it seems to come down to the individual being able to say, no, no more. No, I don't want more blood. Not again. And it's this moment here, in a bigger sense, but this moment right here. These words right here. I am wrong. They're the first step to becoming right. Once you realize that they're true, they're the only step is to recognize that as true. The only other option is denial. To run from the truth, to hide it and to lie, to change things and to break things so that your reality actually becomes real. People do that too. Refuse to admit the truth of the situation. You must be wrong. You must be wrong. So I'll break you until my version works. I'm not a bad parent. You're a bad kid. So I'm going to break you into one. Happens all the time. But if people could realize I am wrong and weren't so fucking scared of it, if it didn't make our stomachs churn, if it didn't make us fear, how different our world could be. So the sword demon limps away. And formally, for what I feel like is the first time, at least in a meaningful way, he even uses Dono. You are the sword saint, and your power is needed. He recognizes him as what he is. He can't necessarily forgive him for everything that's happened. There's emotional wrapped up into it. He's got to hobble off and lick his wounds, but you are who you are. And you, Heinkel, just worry about yourself. We don't need to go and fix all of these things. What an interesting section here at the end. Okay. From there, I want to jump to just start talking in a broad overview. I get this vibe, especially during the scene here, this scene in particular. We've got the flurry of petals around them, but they're in the space where he fought, right? There's this wonderful vibe that's kind of like Everything Everywhere All at Once, and kind of like, not Inception, the movie, the time travel movie one, Time and Space. No, not the movie Time Space. Interstellar. Where you set up all these elements and different pieces of emotional context and stuff, like dead wife scenes, right? You get these in film and stuff where it's like, the memories of my dead wife, and she's in her, like, the sheets and windows and rays of light from the... Okay, great. I think I've painted a picture. You get it. Once you set up enough of those, you can weave them together into a scene that blends them together and becomes very dreamlike, very ethereal, because you're in one place, but the characters are from a different time in their period, in their structure of, like, when they met each other, and they're wearing different things, and then other stuff is going on. That happens here, and I think it's one of the strongest, like, emotional sequences in this chunk of ReZero as a whole. I think it's really cool, and it's all emergent out of putting all these layers together in a way that doesn't make sense. So we have this moment that we know actually happened for real, where they did the thing, but then it becomes this almost dreamlike ethereal sequence that's not real, where the characters get to say things that they never actually said to each other. I think. I don't actually know how this is written and how it's been adapted. But what it feels like is we've got all these pieces, and so we're weaving them together across space and time. So it's as though the young Teresia and the young Reinhard, young Wilhelm, in their young bodies have, like, the minds of their older selves and are able to, like, forgive each other and love each other. So we're sort of getting the crystallization of the themes of their romance in visual. I love it. I love it. I think it's so cool because it cuts through all of the need to set up a reality. We're not in an actual scene or in an actual reality or anything like that. We're in disconnected dialogue space. Like you can get at the beginning of a chapter of a book, right? You get the quotes that happened, but when were they said? To whom? Between whom and whom? In what sequence? In what sort of a room were they said? Were they said outside? Were they said? It doesn't matter. You don't care. At what point in their life were they said? How old was the person when they said it? Doesn't matter. It's a cool quote. It means something, right? But it's floating, ephemeral. And so you can build all that shit around it. And if you build it in anime like this, it becomes really cool. And you can have all of these disconnected dialogues become woven together into a thing that's like super emotionally strong. Become my reason for wielding it, and whoosh, the flower petals come in, even though we're inside in a ballroom. And do you like flowers happens, even though we know some of those conversations have happened at different points when she's sitting on the thing or whatnot. It reminds me of certain depictions I've seen of I think there's a film like this where somebody has had like a head trauma and their memories are bleeding together, and so different pieces are sort of warping together in a strange way. I love it. I think it's really cool. We pan away and we're back to like reality here, you know? But for this portion where we're in this ballroom, we're in unreality. We're in a strange non-space that doesn't really exist. I It's so funny because I can think of a distinct example where this doesn't work at all. I can think of a couple, but there's a terrible, very bad, very enjoyable show called Tenku Danzai Skelter Heaven, which I have a reaction to. It's up on YouTube. It's called like my favorite worst anime ever or something like that. And there's a point we're like about to do a mecha battle thing, and we just cut. We just hard cut to like a classroom, and there's sunlight streaming in, and our characters are talking, and there are no other elements set up. There's no emotional context for it. It doesn't matter at all. It's pivotal to the emotional content of the episode, but it's the first time that we're introducing any of that, so it's not like fulfilling things. It's just bringing them up randomly. So like this gets done in all sorts of places, but here it's so good. It's so good. It feels great. Yeah. Okay. That's that. I just wanted to talk about that little piece because I thought it was really cool. Old Teresia's voice actress sounds really good. Sounds really familiar to me. The whole slice of the Grim Reaper is fucked up. Sucks. A wound that will never heal, but it serves as a deep and potent metaphor for the thing that he never could say and the wound that has never healed, which I think is really quite solid. And I'm struck by the arrangement of characters and objects throughout the episode. I wonder if that's an artifact of the person who was responsible for fight choreography in the beginning also being responsible for the direction of the whole thing and just caring about where people are placed in space a lot. But it feels like there's an emphasis on where people are placed in space throughout this that I think is really cool. The objects feel purposeful. The flower that sits here in the chair feels very purposeful. And the fact that Wilhelm is not in the shot and is then shot very far, standing away, looking away in the room through here is like, yeah, conflict, really cool. She'll say it. I love you. Yes, that's fine for now. You can answer me next time. And I'm gonna, again, even though it's so simple and it's so obvious and it's so front and center in the episode, if you got people around that you care about, tell them that you love them. Tell them that you care about them. If you've had a fight recently, try to work it out. Even if it means eating a little bit of humble pie, I think it's probably worth it. We live in a really strange and chaotic world, and shit can get crazy really fast. On a micro level and on a much bigger macro level. You can be chilling in your lovely penthouse apartment one day and be in the middle of a war zone the next day, and you can be having a great, lovely, idyllic country life, and then a family member gets hit by a truck. Like, shit happens. And so if you've got people around you and you care about them, just say it. It costs you very little. Maybe nothing. It might actually gain you things. And it might mean everything. Sort of, I think a few episodes ago I said something about telling someone else that you need them might be the most kind thing that you could ever do to them. Telling them that you love them fits in the same category and might be really important. We'll cover Teresia's youth in a moment. Let's jump to the... Yeah, because we do sort of Teresia's story woven in through battle sequences, so let me cover the battle sequence really quick. This is pretty dope. I love how completely blank-faced we get her to be. It's really neat, and I genuinely like the choreography all throughout. We get lots of smeary blades, which I think do a really good job of helping to sell stuff, and again, like, do you feel, as I click through these, do you feel the emphasis on spatial representation? Three-dimensional spatial representation. I think a part of it has to do with the fact that we've got these really clear straight lines that have to operate and move around through space, that both the blades that they're carrying and the one that's on Wilhelm's hip, and that makes the whole scene like really solidly landmarked in terms of three-dimensional space. I think that carries throughout. The choreography feels really, really good. It's also full of really fun flair. Like, I've seen so many sequences of character jumps over other character carrying a blade and lands, right? And usually a little spin at the end or a little tuck at the end, but he gets this lovely like twist, flip, bam, with all the smears on the sword going through as well. It's just, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun woven into pieces where it doesn't necessarily need to be fun, but it adds a lot. It makes me believe in the characters as cool sword fighters and makes this whole thing really fun to watch. Also great weightiness and muscular knowledge in the way the characters like bend and brace and carry themselves. It's cool. It's cool. I love to watch animators really get to flex their craft on something that I think lots of animators like to animate. Maybe I'm wrong here, but sword fight and in martial arts and human body movement just feels like one of those things that animators really deeply gravitate toward, and this ends up being a really cool showcase of a lot of pieces of it. That's fun. I think a lot of this fight is made up of like really classic styled cuts, like the jump over or the bob running forward, which we see plenty of in Wilhelm versus the Whale and other places like that. But then they're woven together with modern animation techniques and bits of CG where it's necessary and really cool camera work where it's needed to make it all feel really good. You know, we get classic bob slash, and then the slash holds into this awesome pan around where we're interacting camera with the frame itself. Whoa. Reminiscent of some of the semi-POV sequences in Chainsaw Man and Jujutsu Kaisen. It's so cool to me to see the wave of what everyone is capable of in animation across the major studios sort of chunking and moving forward. You see these bits of techniques and stuff appear and then start to gain widespread usage, and then people start experimenting and playing with them, and they become part of the painter's palette, part of the tool set. It's really cool. How do we speed her up like that? Because she goes, whoa! Okay. 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. The answer is we don't. It's just the camera whoosh. Wow. Bam. I'm loving it. I'm I'm loving it. I think this is okay, so this is part of what I'm talking about, where these tools become so well known that using them, they get used with more flair and with more fun and more aplomb. This is like that. This is just background, probably matched to 3D, and foreground. It's really simple, but because we're able to use these tools together so well, we were able to create this incredible ramping up of momentum and then bam into it. That is really over the course of like 2 frames that we get the really big change. It's hold. Woof. It feels like the floor drops out from under me. What fun. And then we're still bouncing around. We're still in the same shot, still cycling around them. All of this because we're able to do really cool CG camera. Yeah? That really is it. I was looking, when I first went through the shot, I was like, wow, we must have done something really cool with her foreground animation, right? That makes her feel like she drops really fast. But we don't. It's just really good understanding of how the background movement shapes the whole fight. And then it continues to shape the fight here. Woof. And comes out and then all the way in. Boom. Wow. Wow. It's not one technological development. It's everything being able to work together as one. It's cohesion. So Wilhelm attacks and cannot make any headway. Teresia very clearly outmatches him, and all our spinning, warping shots just sort of serve to demonstrate that she's all over him, running circles around him. Heinkel appears and interrupts and gets his dad stabbed because she has no compunctions. She's not even a she, she's just a mannequin. And then, in the moment of great horror when she's about to strike down Heinkel, Reinhard arrives. This, as Wilhelm begs for the opportunity to keep the fight going and to save his son, but then also even later, where there's this feeling of like, no, this is my fight, man. How fucking dare you? This is something that Wilhelm never thought he would have to do, but when he saw her body and realized who she was, he realized that it was an opportunity for him to fulfill this thing, to overcome her, to fight her. And he doesn't get to do it. He gets to say the words to her at the end, but in a real sense, Reinhard comes and takes the opportunity away from him. There is a deep anticlimax here. But also something fascinating that he is able to draw. And we gotta highlight, the draw moment is fucking sick. It also highlights something else that I think is cool, that I think indicates something about ReZero as a world and a power system and a set of things. And it happened in the moment that I went, oh, can he draw? I think at that moment, more than any other before, I believe in the rules of the world. There have been plenty of times throughout ReZero where I've kind of gone, I don't fucking know what's going on. It just, powers, they happen. Which shit, it is what it is. But that moment where I said, can he draw? It indicates to me that I believe in the rules, and I'm willing to, like, ask the story whether something is possible within its rule framework. Like, I believe in it. I believe somehow in Reinhard as a symbol and the Sword Saint stuff and the blessings and all of that, beyond just believing that they're elements of the story, but, like, that has meaning to it. That has meaning to it now. It was set up ages ago and I didn't even know what it meant, and then I sort of learned what it meant, and now it has meaning to the point where I can go, oh, will it happen? Can it? And it says something about her, and it says something about Reinhardt's relationship with her that he can draw it. And then it's really fucking cool, and it pays that off by being like, oh my god, he's actually drawing this horde. But the moment that's really crystal clear cool to me is that a piece of me went from, I don't know, the show's going to do whatever it wants with the powers, to the show is bound by restrictions and rules. And if Reinhardt is going to show up and try to draw his sword, there has to be a justification for it. It has to work. It has to make sense. And it does. That's a big leap for me. I'm not sure exactly why, but it's kind of like our initial conversation where something that just existed is now imbued with meaning and it's been alchemized into something else. The sword is not just a sword, not just a symbol of station, but a literal decider of worth. In the same way that Kurgan drawing his blades is, but Kurgan is a character, right? Is a person who won't draw his demon cleavers unless you're worthy. This is an object that has like unconditional knowledge of reality, and I believe it. I actually think it's the sword of truth or whatnot, right? I actually believe it. I'm bought in. This is a transition for my brain. I'm bought in. Huh. Interesting. Such a weird frame. Because we're doing this sort of sunrise pose, which is the big sword pose, but she's just full blanked out, zombified. Just very strange looking. Very cool. Stop it! Stop it! Please don't kill her! That's my Teresia. Yeah. But it's not. And he says, I killed her 15 years ago, even though, of course, he didn't kill her. Not really. She strikes, and it's just not even a moment. When he slices through, what do we see? Is it them holding him as a child? No, it's all of their connections. So it's the two of them looking over. I'm not sure what that one is, because that looks like a blonde character. Him, their kiss, the fields of flowers, the deaths, the family, and that's what wipes us forward. Wham. And it's just one strike. He cuts her down, and then we're in backstory. What an anticlimax. But for an anticlimax, it's woven in with the emotions and the context in a way that it all comes together during the I love you moment and it all comes together at the end. I think this does a really good job of being an anticlimax, a little mini rug pull, and potentially a transition between the very distinct, very straightforward, 100% victory-filled winning that we've been doing, and a pretty bittersweet kind of Pyrrhic victory where, yeah, we defeated the thing that's a big monster that was fighting stuff, but nobody feels good about it. Except maybe Reinhardt. He feels fine. He's just off to go do stuff. And everybody else can feel good because Reinhardt's on the case, but nobody feels good about it. It's no secret that the first chunk of the Teresia story, when we first got it, didn't super work for me. This time it does. I think that's great. I think that it's better told and that the context that we get here is important for it. Elrond and the family, you have been blessed. But talent hits people in weird ways, and it's not fair. And it can lead you in strange directions. Blessings can be curses. I think the depictions of battlefield violence are really solid, especially, again, coming off of Vinland Saga, where we just had some really graphic depictions of battlefield violence. He loves the sword. He's born to it. She's not. She should not be. And yet, the world is not fair. I'll protect you. I'm your big brother, after all. Oh, man, I thought we were going to go right to it, man. Right to it. But no, we give him the Boromir. And then we cover up for her because she matters more as a symbol than as a person. So she's stuck. Stuck picking up a sword for violence. And eventually she finally believes, she finally buys in, she's about to pick up the sword. I must take up my sword. And then it's here. And, again, how with time, space, warp, somebody's having internal bleeding in the brain and hemorrhaging memories into each other, you know? Things are wow. I don't know how did this scene become that scene? How did they all come together? I don't know. But that's the magic of it. That's the magic of it, is that we get to speak across that and wrap this story that's taken 3 generations to come to its conclusion, and finally put a bow on it that says no more bloodshed, not for this. And Reinhardt is freed, kind of, to turn his power toward purpose. In a way, though we were talking about it internally in one person, this is alchemizing an emotional experience across generations into something new. A thing that trapped them and prevented them from moving forward, that was all bound up in circular energy, spiraling and eating itself, Wilhelm's self-hatred and the family and Heinkel and the hatred of the grandson and the blame, all of it can finally be transmuted into something else. Wilhelm can turn his energy toward grieving, and Reinhard can turn his into saving the world, and Heinkel, I guess, can turn his into living his own fucking life, instead of trying to live in the, like, retribution and unfairness for the sins of the past. Like, I'm forced to be this way because of him and because of him and because of her. Just live for yourself, man. Just take care of your own needs and your own safety. We're finally able to put this thing to rest. And even though she's been a corpse for 15 years, we're finally able to put her away and to mourn and move forward. I think that's a really cool purpose, sort of, for an episode. And I think that this episode, if that's its purpose, that this episode executes on that purpose really effectively. Along with revealing exactly who killed her. At that point, I think I will say thank you very much for watching this week's episode of ReZero Season 3 with me. We've only got 2 more to go, and I feel like they probably go together. So, exciting things. Thank you so much for watching along with me, and I'll catch you next week for the next 1 or 2, whatever it ends up being. This whole season has been such a blast so far, and I hope you've been enjoying it. If you're rewatching along with me, I hope you've been enjoying the process. Drop anything that gives more context and important bits to this episode, although I do feel like this one's a lot less confusing than the last one and really nails its core points very effectively. I'd still love to hear your comments and thoughts about it. Drop those in the comments, and I'll see you next time for more. Much love. Peace.